Hello again. Today we are going to be talking about using frequency displays. And the I can statement we'll be working on in this lesson is I can find and interpret measures of center, mean, median, and mode, and measures of variation, range. Think back to the lesson that we worked on previously. We created a dot plot for the number of tennis balls collected by 12 different students. Now we're going to use this dot plot to find the mean, median, mode, and range of this data. Perhaps the easiest measure of central tendency to find is the mode. On a dot plot, the mode is represented by the bar or the line that has the most x's going above one number. In this case, the mode is 10 because 10 appears 4 times in this data. Common mistakes that I've seen students in the past make is to say that the mode is 4 because there are 4 x's above the 10. But if you'll look in the original data, 4 is not a data item, so that could not be a possible answer. Another common error is for students to say 2 is the mode because there are 2 columns that have 2 x's in it. However, 14 is not the mode, it does not appear the most, and neither is 15, so that cannot be the mode. The mode is the column that has the most x's. The range is another simple measure of variation to find looking at a dot plot. All I need to do is look at which number is the lowest number that has an x above it. In this case, it's 10. The biggest number with an x above it is the number 16. So my range is 16 minus 10, which is 6. The median and the mean require a little more work. To find the median of this data, I need to line it all up to find the center. Fortunately, when I create a dot plot, my data is already in order. So if I were to list my data in order, I would need 4 10s, 3 11s, 2 14s, 2 15s, and 1 16. Now, based on that, all I need to do is go through and find the center. So, I can cross off one from each end until I come to a center. And in this case, there are 2 numbers in the center. But fortunately, they're both 11. And I know that if I have 2 numbers that I need to add and divide by 2, if they're the same, I'm going to get that number. 11 plus 11 is 22. 22 divided by 2 is 11. So my median is 11. Since I've already got this data written out, I can use it to find the mean. If you recall, when we find the mean, we simply add up all of our data items. And it's very simple when I have a dot plot. I can either write out all the items and add them up, or I can notice that there are 4 10s, and 4 times 10 is 40, plus 3 11s, and 3 times 11 is 33, plus 2 14s, which is 28, 2 15s, which is 30, and a 16. This might make it a little easier to deal with all these numbers and add them. Either way, whether you multiply all the groupings to get all the ones that are the same by the number of times they appear, or just add them straight across, you get 147. Then I go back and count. There were 12 data items. So I take 147, I divide it by 12, and I get 12 and 25 hundredths. So that is my mean. Now it's your turn. Use the dot plot below to find the mean, median, mode, and range of the data. You're going to want to pause the video, but don't forget to restart because we have not finished with this lesson. You can go back and rewatch any portion of the previous problem to help you out as needed. Now let's look at an example where we're using a frequency table. If you'll recall, we looked at this problem in our previous lesson. The following numbers are the number of books read in 1 month by some boys and girls in grade 6. Now let's use this data to find the mean, median, mode, and range for the boys' data. Just like with a dot plot, we have to look and see how many boys were surveyed. Well, of all the boys surveyed, 2 of them read 0 books, 3 of them read 1 book, another 3 read 2 books, 1 of them read 3 books, 0 of the boys read 4 books, and 1 of the boys read 5 books. Looking at this data, the number of books that appears most often looks like it's 3 because there are 2 3s in this data. However, that means that 3 boys read 1 book and 3 boys read 2 books. So the mode of this data is 1 and 2 because the number of boys reading 1 book and the number of boys reading 2 books is the same and the most out of all the other numbers of books read for the month. The range is simple because the least amount of books read by the boys was 0. The most number of books read by the boys was 5. So my range is 5 books minus 0 books, and that makes 5. Just like with the dot plots, when I want to find the median, I need to write out my data. So, 2 boys read 0 books. 3 boys read 3 books. Another 3 boys read 2 books. 1 boy read 3 books. 0 boys read 4 books, so I'm not going to put a 4 at all in this list. But 1 boy read 5 books. Now, using this list, which is now written in order, I can find the median of this data by crossing off the first and last until I get to the center. And in this case, since there are 2 and they're not the same, I need to add them and then divide by 2. And I get 1.5 books. Now, using the same list, I can find the mode of this data. I do that by adding up all of my data items. 0 plus 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1, plus 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5, plus 2 is 7, plus 2 is 9, plus 3 is 12, plus 5 is 17. Then I go back and count. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 data items. So I divide 17 by 10, and I get 1 7/10 books as my mean. Sorry, not mode. Now it's your turn. Using the same data, find the mean, median, mode, and range for the girls in this class. You can pause the video and complete this task. We are now done with this lesson. You can go back and watch any part of this video or all of the video again if there's any part that you don't understand or need to hear again. Don't forget to WSQ in your notes.